Have you ever wondered why humanity, in all its wisdom and progress, still wages wars that seem utterly pointless? A question that has piqued the minds of many. Wars by their very nature are destructive. They devour resources, bring untold suffering and extinguish countless lives, often for gains that seem minuscule in comparison. The paradox of war lies in this very contradiction. We, as a species, have evolved over millennia, creating wonders in science, art and technology. Yet we still resort to this primitive form of conflict resolution. A look into our past reveals a tapestry of battles fought over territory, power, resources and even pride. The evolution of warfare from crude stone weapons to nuclear bombs has only amplified the cost of these conflicts, making the paradox even more poignant. As we delve into history, let's uncover some of the most seemingly pointless wars humanity has ever waged. In the annals of history, wars have been fought for countless reasons, some valid, others simply absurd. Take the Peloponnesian War, for instance. Here, two Greek city-states, Athens and Sparta, engaged in a bitter and protracted conflict, lasting 27 long years. Fought over power, influence and ego, the war resulted in a weakened Greece, ripe for conquest by Macedonia. Then there were the Punic Wars, a series of 3 wars fought by Rome and Carthage. Over a century of fighting, primarily for control of the Mediterranean, led to the complete destruction of Carthage and Rome's dominance. Yet, the cost in lives and resources was staggering. Or consider the 100 Years' War, a misnomer since it actually spanned 116 years. Fought over claims to the French throne, it achieved little more than creating deep-seated animosity between England and France, which continues to this day. From ancient times to the Middle Ages, the pattern of pointless wars only seemed to continue. As civilization progressed, one might assume that warfare would become more rational, but history tells a different tale. Let's delve into the annals of the 20th century, a time when wars were fought over seemingly trivial matters. Take the War of Jenkins's Ear, for instance. This conflict between Britain and Spain in the 1730s was ostensibly sparked by the severing of a British sea captain's ear by Spanish coastguards. Yes, you heard that right, an entire war over an ear. Fast forward a century or so to the Pig War of 1859. This was a confrontation between the United States and Great Britain over the boundary between the US and British Columbia. The trigger? The shooting of a pig that had wandered onto an American's property. A full-blown crisis ensued, with both nations on the brink of war. All over a wayward pig. Then we have the aptly named Football War of 1969, a 4-day conflict between Honduras and El Salvador, ignited by rioting during a soccer match. Tensions were already high due to immigration disputes, but it was a football game that tipped the scales towards war. These wars, sparked by trivial disputes and resulting in unnecessary bloodshed, underline the absurdity of conflict. They remind us that even in the age of enlightenment, humans can still be driven to war over the pettiest of reasons. Despite the advancements in technology and society, the 20th century was no stranger to pointless wars. The cost of these wars extends far beyond the battlefield. The economic burden of warfare is colossal, often leading to years, if not decades, of financial instability. Nations pour vast amounts of resources into war efforts, draining their economies and leaving little for the welfare of their citizens. Post-war reconstruction also requires significant investment, further straining already depleted resources. On a societal level, the impact is equally devastating. With the loss of millions of lives, families are shattered and communities are left bereft of their loved ones. The psychological trauma experienced by survivors and the generations that follow is immeasurable, casting long, dark shadows over societies. Culturally, wars have a profound influence. They alter our narratives, our art, our music and our literature. They shape our collective memory and identity, often fostering a culture of fear, mistrust and hostility that can last for generations. But perhaps the most tragic consequence of these pointless wars is the cycle of violence they perpetuate. Each conflict, no matter how senseless, sows the seeds of the next. This endless cycle of violence feeds on itself, leading to even more conflict, more destruction and more loss. In the grand scheme of history, these wars serve as a stark reminder of the futility of conflict and the importance of peace. These narratives of pointless wars should not be forgotten, but rather serve as lessons for future generations, urging us to strive for dialogue, understanding and peace above all else.